Let's talk about mental health. Hey guys, it's Shi'nae here. Welcome back to another episode on the podcast. I'm so glad that you guys could join me. And today I wanted to talk about mental health, specifically anxiety and depression. So, where do I even start? Let's start with anxiety. I didn't realize that I had anxiety until recently, honestly. I thought me getting frustrated and getting overwhelmed and just crying, that was just frustration and that's it. But it was a little bit more than that. It was anxiety. Growing up, I was always the smart person, the person who had it all together. I was like an adult at 9. I didn't ask for help for my homework. I figured it out and I just did well. And having that expectation on me took a toll at a very young age because no one thought I needed help. I didn't ask for it. I figured out things on my own. I cried through those things. I got so frustrated. It made me nervous. I was scared a lot of times, but no one knew that because I had to uphold a stigma or just what they thought I was. And that took a toll on my mental health. um, Fourth grade, I was in this class called the Hope class. And I don't know what it's called now for the younger people. I know when my mom was in school, it was the gifted and talented class. But yeah, the Hope class. I don't think I've ever had a harder class in my life than that class. I know, obviously, compared to college, now that's like simple and easy, but I think that was the worst class and just year of my life when it came to school. Possibly. I don't think it was the worst, but educationally wise, it took a toll. It took a big toll. I thought, okay, I got accepted into this class, I'm going to do well. I always do well. And that just wasn't the case. I fell short. I fell behind. I'm pretty sure if we were ranked, I was last on that list. And it was so hard. Being in fourth grade, learning about fractions, I just didn't understand it. And even when my classmates tried to explain it to me, I don't know. Everything was just so fast paced. I couldn't keep up. It was so hard. Now, my grades weren't bad. Like I said, my grades were always good. I'm not exactly sure what it was, but when you're in that class and you want to be in it the next year, you have to uphold a certain like grading standpoint, and I wasn't in that. It was so terrible when I tell you. Oh my god. I looking back now, I know that that's anxiety. What I was going through. It was like I would get blurry vision. I would get so like panicky. But my fourth grade mind didn't know what an anxiety attack was, what anxiety was. I just thought frustration. That's the best I could describe how I was feeling. And speaking of me not knowing what anxiety of, growing up, I wasn't introduced to like those types of feelings. My mom was both my mom and dad, and she wasn't strict, but she was definitely more stern than maybe other moms were. I wouldn't change that. That's fine. I don't have a problem with anything and how I grew up. I do wish that I was shown more of like what those feelings were, feeling depressed and having anxiety and those panic attacks, because I think I would better handle my emotions a little bit earlier than I did. I've only just now learned how to understand them and handle them a bit better. And I'm 20. And how old are you when you're in fourth grade? You're like 8, right? 8, 9, something like that. I don't know. That was like 11 years ago. That was so long ago. I don't remember every detail. Um, but yeah, growing up, I wasn't subjected to like those ideals. Honestly, in my mind, what I thought that I was being taught was having anxiety, being depressed is like a sign of weakness. And I know a lot of guys can relate to that. And I feel sympathetic for not just guys, just people in general who have been taught at a young age or just while growing up that you can't feel this certain way. People are going to judge you. Or you can't feel a certain way because you're a guy. You need to be like this. Or there's no time to be depressed. You need to be happy. You need to do this. You need to do your schoolwork. You need to get a job. You need to make money. You know, time just keeps going. It doesn't it doesn't stop for you. It passes you by if you're not going to catch up. And although that is true, um I don't know. I wish I'd had known. It would have been so much better to know, and to be okay with being depressed. It's not something you want to stay in, but I think it's something that you should accept if that's a part of you. Now that we're diving into depression, let's start with depression. Although I do believe that anxiety happened at a very young age and I just didn't know about it until I got older, I for sure know that depression happened after I gave birth. As you guys might or might not know if you listened to the earlier podcast or the Let's Talk About Me episode, I have a daughter and she's 3 years old. I love her to death. She's my best friend. She's got attitude. She's the best dancer I know. She's better than you. If you're thinking right now, like, oh, I could dance better. Oh, she's not better than the best dancer. No, she's better than everybody. I don't want to hear it. No ifs, ands, and buts. Nope, nope, nope. She's better than you. She's better than everybody. Your mama, your dog, your sister, your brother. She's better than everybody. Um, and I don't even need to prove it to you. She's better than you. Um, anyway, not to be negative. Um, I didn't know or get depressed until after I gave birth. I had postpartum depression. There was a moment where I was alone with the baby, sleeping with her on the couch because I got a C-section, so I couldn't really sleep in my bed, like flat, because it hurt. And I thought that I had dropped her. And it's like I saw it. It was picture clear. It could have been daydreaming. I could have been sleep deprived. I don't know. But I thought I dropped her. And couldn't even, I just couldn't say anything. I couldn't get any words out. I just had to hurry up, get up, and give her to my mom. And my mom was like, "What are you doing? Why are you giving it to me? What are you doing?" Like, and I couldn't answer it because I was just so shocked and so like, uh, like I don't even know how to explain that feeling now. It was terrible. Honestly, it was a terrible feeling. And that's when the depression started to like get worse, kind of. I, of course, got help, and I'm grateful for that. But the depression started to get a little bit worse. Um, how do I explain it? Just feeling down, feeling sad, feeling hopeless, feeling like nothing's gonna work, nothing that you do will ever change how you feel. And I didn't get help for that. I tried this, I think it was this mom's group. It was okay. A whole bunch of older moms, but it just I don't know. It didn't work out for me. And I have a history of not getting help from people who are supposed to help me or who say they're meant to help me, as in like guidance counselors through school and a therapist that I've had before. No help. Um, and what I want to say for some of the listeners who are going through the same things like depression, you could be depressed about school, just depressed about anything, or if it just hits you, because it hits me. um, don't give up on getting that help. Don't give up. It's like trying on clothes. You gotta keep trying on different pairs of shoes or different shirts just to get the right fit. That's the same thing with a therapist. You gotta keep trying. And I know it's hard, especially when people aren't used to expressing themselves. It's hard to want to keep trying. And I was there. I promise you it's going to be okay. You'll find that right fit. And then hopefully you get better, you know? Um, Depression isn't cured overnight. That's something, it's like, duh, I know that. At first, when I started with therapy and stuff like that, I knew that, but I didn't know to the extent of how I would feel afterwards, like how it would open up some past traumas or just feelings that I've held deep within. And sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, it makes the depression worse, but honestly, I'm a very hopeful and just happy person. I'm grateful that it has opened up those things to me so I can fix it. Because you never know. You can be in a situation where someone just just says something that triggers you, and then you're just out of it. Yeah. Um Great example. I had this situation the other day. And I was with a friend doing some grocery shopping, and I told him I was depressed, you know. I'm not sure if he was paying attention really well, which I'm not blaming him. um but I asked him for a hug, and he we joke around, that's our language. He was like, "What do you need a hug for?" I'm like, "I'm depressed." And he's like, "A hug isn't gonna cure your depression." And I don't know, that just triggered me. And then I got a text, like an angry text, and then that just triggered me some more that I just had to leave the supermarket. I had to go in the car and just cry because I was at a point where it was crazy. It was really crazy. And I will say, for those of you who don't experience depression, but you're listening and kind of getting an idea of how it might be, don't do that. Don't deny a person. If you're not a touchy person, if you don't feel comfortable, that's okay. And maybe tell that person that if they don't know, if you haven't told them that before. But when a depressed person, or just anybody with like who's feeling sad, or who doesn't really ask you for those things and they're asking for it, maybe you should think like, okay, um, what's going on? Are you okay? Maybe I'll give you this hug, just this one time. And, you know, when you don't do it, it does make the other person feel bad and worse. But it's not your obligation to do it. You don't have to, you know. I'm aware that my friend might not have been paying attention and they didn't know. But that's okay. It's okay. I don't hate them. I don't feel bad about it. That's still my friend and our relationship is fine. But you never know when someone needs a hug. And especially for like guys, or like I said, the people that grew up with not being able to show those emotions or being told that they can't. Um Give somebody a hug. Once again, with permission, you know? You don't want to upset somebody, but you never know what someone's going through. Like, they could be the happiest person in the world. Like me. I put on a smile all the time. And I tell people I'm the happiest person. I smile, I laugh all day, every day. And I don't know, it's just hard for me to look sad. Now, sometimes I do when I'm like super depressed or just tired. But even so, it just looks like I have a straight face. It's like I can't get that face on me because I'm such a happy person and I'm meant to be a happy person. And although I'm meant to be a happy person, I do have depression. And that's not bad. But I say all this to say, you never know what somebody is going through. You want to make sure that you're there for them. Another thing that I've learned and some tips that my fellow depressed people or anxious people can do to help lessen the feelings is deep breathing. You know, you breathe in for 4 seconds, hold it for 7, let it out for 8. Um, Name a few things that you can touch, see, hear, and smell. Um, Journaling is good. I write out a lot of my feelings. That's what I do, and then I talk about it in therapy. And it's really best when you're like going through it so you can get everything out. If you're driving, please don't get in a car crash. I'm not telling you to, if you're driving and upset, to write it down. Please don't do that. But, to get those feelings out in the moment, it might give you like, it'll lift off a weight on your shoulder. And it won't cure everything, but, it may help. Um, Therapy is another big one. Obviously, I'm an advocate for therapy. I'm a work in progress. I think it works. I think it's helping me. And I used to be a non believer because of all of those people in my life that didn't help me when I asked for it. So, give it a try. If you were like me, maybe you want to try it again. Like I said, you could just find that right person. It'll take some time, but you'll get it. I believe in you. We got this together. I mean, I found my person, but we got this together. um, but yeah, mental health, mental disorders, mental issues, mental problems. We all go through it. It may not be as prominent in some people and as shown, but we all go through it. We get those days. And it's okay. You don't need to hide it. Talk to somebody. And don't be afraid to talk to people. That is a number one thing for me with my anxiety, like asking for help. And I have to get through that, obviously. And, your triggers and your anxiety or depression, like I said, isn't gonna go away overnight. It takes some time. But you have to be willing to put in that time and work for it. And I promise you the results will come out beautifully. And we have our ups and downs. I have my high highs and my low lows. And I don't know if you could tell now, I'm kind of in one of my low lows. I'm such a happy person. You wouldn't know that. But it's okay. Embrace it. Feel your feelings. Don't let anybody tell you to cover them up. Because they're yours. You own them. That's your property. You have the right to them. You do. And I hope to see you guys or have you guys listen to the coming episodes on the podcast. Don't forget that the podcast drops every Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you have any questions or anything you'd like me to talk about on the podcast, Feel free to leave a review or any questions on the podcast page on Spotify, or email me at let's talk with Shi'nae@gmail.com. That's LETSTALKWITHSHINAE @gmail.com. I was struggling right there, so I'm going to do it again. LETSWITHSHINAE @gmail.com. All right, guys, have a good day. I'll see you soon.